Welcome to the Spa Girls podcast, a self-publishing podcast for authors. You're in the right place for the best writing, marketing, and publishing advice, plus interviews with industry experts and best-selling authors. I'm Cheryl Phipps.
I'm Wendy Valla.
And I'm Trudy J. Welcome, everyone. Hello.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the spa. We are
Welcome back.
No, we have this week an amazing author. I'm so excited to speak to her again for the second time, Katie Cross. Say hello.
Yay,
Katie.
Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
Katie.
I'm so excited to be back.
So we had
excited to have
Katie with
you.
us. Yes, we are excited. We had Katie with us in September 2017. So
we're all blown away by that.
Where did that time go? Like, what the heck?
So fast. Like, I remember meeting with you over Zoom then, like it was yesterday. I'm like, it can't be that long.
I know,
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So it's episode 101. If anyone wants to go back and talk or listen to it after listening to you today and hear what she had to say, I'm gonna and it was a really good interview on productivity with young kids, being a nap time entrepreneur. There was just loads of really good productivity kind of getting writing done in the middle of chaos kind of advice. So I'm queen
at that.
Yeah, so maybe we can talk a little bit
link to that in the show
yeah.
notes, the podcast anyway.
Yeah, definitely. So okay, first of all, I'm just going to read out your bio and then we're going to get down. The actual topic of main topic for today is direct sales, because Katie's been doing some awesome stuff with direct sales. But for now, I will read your bio. So Karen. Oh, see, I already messed it up. Karen, high priestess and young adult fantasy author, Katie Cross grew up in the mountains of Idaho, where she still loves to play when she gets the chance. Her mission is to connect readers with their best selves, to seek the divine in each of us, and to prove that we can love ourselves and accomplish all despite opposition. Which I love. I'm sorry, I just have to stop. I love that little section in your bio. Because isn't that what we kind of all want to achieve for our readers as we're anyway. If she's not writing, you can find her traveling, adventuring with her kiddos, trail running with her husband and Vizsla dogs, or curled up with a good book and a cup of chai. Oh, I like to say that too.
You know, that was true 7 years ago and now. I just love chai. I love mountains. I love running. I love it.
And dogs. And dogs.
And dogs. Oh, so many dogs.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So let's talk about what's been happening for you. Just a quick summary. What's been happening for you in the last 7 years since we last spoke? Like, where are you at now?
Yeah, let's highlight this. So 7 years, I had another child. So I have two.
Nice.
We picked up another dog. So we have three, three beachless. Nice. They're very high energy dogs. I moved a couple times, but we settled for sure in the mountains of Montana. I've got like 10-acre plot that backs national forest. So I just hike every day.
Wow.
And I wrote a lot of books. I went through some different business models and I landed, just like my house, I landed on the business model that I have loved the most and kind of plan to stay at now that I bounced around. So in a nutshell, like a lot of really cool life in the last 7 years, which is really fun.
Yeah,
nice.
That sounds awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, so how many books? What's the genre? What's happening with that?
So I write young adult fantasy. I did a little stint in contemporary romance. I was doing some chick lits, like I have like 5 chick lit books and then 10 contemporary romance. But after a while, I decided that splitting my attention between the two just wasn't fair to the readers. It wasn't fair to me. So I ended up just stopping I stopped writing romance and chick lit, and I stopped kind of supporting it. I just put them in Kindle Unlimited and leave them there. I don't send advertising to them. And then I just focus wholeheartedly on my young adult fantasy. So right now I have over 50 novels, and then I have probably 80 plus titles because I have short stories or novellas that I punt out as my readers ask for them. And right now I currently launch a new book every month. And so those titles are always coming out.
Wow. Okay. Oh. So so every month, so you're launching 12 books a year?
Yeah, I think we actually did closer to 16 in 2023 because of the short stories that I launch out. Yeah.
Okay.
So
that makes me feel so much better.
Yeah.
So how
I know
much are you
it's
writing?
a lot.
Yeah. How long are those books then? So when you say so when you say something every month, is it a short story sometimes and a full length sometimes, or is it always a
No, so this last year I did what's called the Sister Witches series and then 2 other novels. And the Sister Witches series was a 10-book series. I started in March and I ended in December. So I was able to launch the whole 10-book series in a year. They ranged anywhere from, I think, 72 to 110,000 words. They're
just short then.
big, hefty, big things. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people like sort of laugh at me when I tell them that. But the truth is that we'll dive into this, but I write sometimes 6 hours a day. Like I am at my computer on fingers on a keyboard in my story, sometimes 6 hours a day. So we can get into how that magic actually happens with this new model, but that's kind of where I'm sitting in the publishing space right now.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, yeah. I want to hear about the new model.
Yeah, let's get straight into that new model right now.
Bring that new model on.
Yeah, what are you doing? Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I'll just give like a quick short history, like how I got here. So in 2017 to 2019, I was kicking out what I could, right? You know, probably nothing super consistent. The launches came when the launches came. And by 2019, I was frustrated. I had over 20 books. They are really well reviewed. I had a lot of interest, but just not a lot of money. And I ran into a direct sales course and I decided I'm just going to try it out. So at the end of 2019, I finished it. I set it live beginning of 2020. And then COVID hit like in March, right? So I already had the direct sales model going, which is where I was running Facebook ads to my own website and getting people to buy that way. And then when COVID hit, advertisers panicked and they dropped Facebook ads like it was hot because companies didn't know what to expect out of Q2. And I was like, sweet, let me have that stuff. So I just ate up the space that was in Facebook advertising. I was running sometimes $4,000 a day in ads and making that and more. So it was a pretty intense time. I like ramped up into marketing. I put writing on the back burner. I scaled my company. I created standard operating procedures. So you can do my background.
Squeaky toy.
And I just adopted a new dog. He's going to join us. So I kind of changed. I shifted into this really cool marketing space where I was selling my books. And then that was really fun through Q2 when advertisers weren't really in Facebook advertising. And then that totally changed when we started moving into the Q3 and the Q4 market. Oh my gosh, that's so nice. That's like the loudest squeaker ever. So when we went into the Q3 and the Q4 market, we actually saw this big decline and things started to get more intense and competitive. There were companies that had advertising dollars saved up from Q2 that threw it into Q4, and things just got different. And through 2021, I struggled to make that specific business model work. So I left that mastermind and I found a business advisor and I said, I don't think I can keep doing this advertising. And most of all, I'm pretty freaking miserable. Like I don't write anymore. My readers don't know when to expect a book. I'm a great marketer. I can run ad campaigns like it's no one's style, but that's not why I do that. That's not why I did this, right? Like I want to be a writer. Yeah. So I kind of forgot my roots and I said, I want to write and I want to run my day and I want to live in the mountains. Like I'm not even hiking anymore. And like, who am I if I'm not in the mountains, right? So I just, at the beginning of 2022, I just turned off all my ads. I turned off my ads. I skinnied my model. I went into a very like a contraction of my company, very intentional contraction of my company. I said, we're going to play it small because the advertising, I had $15,000 in credit card debt after just trying all the different things. I had reps at Facebook I talked to twice a week. I spent enough money that they're trying to cater to me and I just couldn't make it work and I wasn't happy. So I said, what does work? So I looked at the model and we looked at the numbers and my advisor and I said, he goes, when you launch books, you make money. And I said, okay, so let's launch more books, right? I'm not really doing that much. And then when I launched specific books, I made more money. And it turns out that readers will tell you what they want more of. And then when you write what they want, they actually buy it. So what I did was I said, well, I think I just need to launch more books. And so I had to let go of all of my contractors that worked for me. I took the work back. I made it small. And I said, I have a standard for everything, right? I have an operating procedure for everything. I know how to get books onto my store. I know how to schedule emails. And that's just what we're going to focus on. So that's what I did through 2022. I cleared my debt by the end of Q3 and started moving into this way more profitable season. I didn't make as much money because I wasn't advertising. I just turned off advertising. So my dollars went way down, but my profitability went way up. And I was happier. I was like writing again and readers were emailing me and my life was just so much easier because I have 2 small kids. And so that's what I did in 2022. And then in 2023, I said, we're going to keep doing this and we're going to add like conventions and in-person events, and we're going to see what we can do that way. And so I started adding that, and I kind of tailored the model to what I wanted from my life. And now I'm doing the same thing for 2024. I'm just saying, all right, what do I want for 2024, and how do I make my company work for me? Because that's the beauty of direct sales, is I can say, well, this is what my life needs, so how does my company serve that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that so much.
Yeah,
so great.
That is good. I mean, that's exactly
to be able to
it.
stop and pivot like that successfully.
Mm.
You know, and
It's
just
scary,
actually,
right?
just shut everything off.
It's brave too, right? It's brave because
brave,
you know
real brave.
when you work in one way and then choose to go another way, kind of forced too, I suppose, but you choose. It's still brave because you know you could have stuck at it and maybe just done less ads or whatever, but it didn't work, and you knew that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, two things. It was that the ads themselves weren't working, and that's kind of what we're all told that you have to do. You have to do Facebook ads, and you have to keep putting more and more money into it to make more money. But actually, you also were going on the aspect of, I'm not writing, and I'm not actually that happy doing all this.
Yeah.
And I don't actually have the life that I want. So
who am I?
So I started there. I think like the conventional like wisdom is, well, like, how do you make more money? How do you make, like, how do you make this happen? And instead I realized I'm doing this backwards. Like, I need to be asking, what life do I want to lead? And then I make my company fit that. And I was like, I want to be in Alcara. Like, I want to be in my fantasy world. I want to be talking to readers. And I'm not doing that right now. So how do I build a model that both serves me and my company? And that's kind of what it was born out of.
Do you do ads at all?
So I haven't for 2 years. Like for 2022 and 2023, I just ran off of existing audience and rapid release launch style, I guess is what, I mean, if you want to label it, I guess that's what the label is. It's the first Friday of every month, I launch a new book. And my readers know to expect that. They're like, okay, every Friday, Katie's going to have a new book for us. Whether at the beginning that was novellas, and then last year it was novels. Like I was able to hone my process and my speed into novels, right? I'm sorry, I just like lost my thought. What was your question?
Do you still do marketing? You're not doing
ads. Yeah. So I started running ads because after 2 years, I was like, you know what? I do want to see growth in other sectors. I want some diversification because the problem with my model is if I don't write, I don't make money, right? Like it's a very launch-driven model. I have a very established sales cycle, right? The money comes in at the first of the month, trickles through, comes in the first month, trickles through. And the question is, can I run ads in a way that creates money that sort of like elevates that standard of, I can expect this much from every launch, but I can also expect this much from ads. And so I see a very slow scale and profitability happening to my cash flow. And so I just started this last month, like running ads again and testing it out. It's a very controlled process this time. Last time I was reactive to the market. I was like, cool, this ad's doing great. Let's throw more budget. Let's put $200 more on it and ramp it up and see what's happening. Where this time it's like, we're starting at $10 and we're running it for a month and we're looking at what's selling. And if this book is selling, this ad is working. And, so we're kind of doing it that way, with also a lot of segmentation on the email side, where I'm saying, if you're not going to buy, you're not my weekly list. And I'm eventually just going to get rid of you after we try to nurture a relationship kind of deal. So yes, I do. I've started engaging in advertising, but it's a very different feel and culture around advertising. I have no expectations of the advertising yet, and I'm just focusing on optimization and a slow growth strategy.
That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit more about the wider sort of setup? So I know you've got some direct sales, but are you in wide on all the other platforms? And is there a percentage of is most of your sales from direct sales, or are you getting it from all locations? And when you talk about existing audience, is that from your newsletter or is that from social media? So just how it's all kind of,
Yeah, so laid out. So I publish wide, except for the romance I told you about that I threw in KU so I could just ignore it. I publish wide, I publish everywhere. I publish on my website, and I only drive sales through my website. And when I say that, I mean, I don't even share links to Amazon. I don't even know what my ranking is. I only log into KDP to put a new book up. There's nothing that I do on Draft to Digital. I download a report once a month. I don't even really log in. I don't know what's going on the retailers, but my books are there in case my readers want it, which is fine. But everything I do is to my website. So every launch email, every post, that's going to go right to my website. My website accounts for I'm just kind of pulling it out of my hat, but anywhere from 70 to 80% of my revenue comes from katiecrossbooks.com. I don't like Amazon is my second biggest. No, it's my third, I think. I think katiecrossbooks.com is my first, and then my convention sales, like the hand-to-hand selling, and then Amazon I think might have been second. I can't remember. It's one of those three are my top ones. So Katie Cross Books, Amazon, and then in-person selling events that I did last year on my profit and loss from last year is kind of what accounted for it. And then I launch every month. Everything is wide. I only go to myself, and then I just keep hitting that every month to create it. So basically what I've done is I've created my own Patreon, but without like having to give money to Patreon. So I have recurring revenue just on my launches, basically from the same people, but I don't have to split that money with Patreon.
So how did you train your readers to go to your store rather than Amazon?
Yeah, so I was going to say too, I have about, right now my email list is like, it started at like 80,000 and I've pared it down to like 20 or 30. And then I just pared it down even more to like 16,000. So we're not even talking this huge email list. I don't have like a mortgage payment in email like list every day, like because my email list is so big. I think that's important for your listeners to know. Like I'm able to pay a salary every month and take in income from my direct sales with a smaller list. Like people here, I have 16,000 and they might be like shocked by that, like thinking I probably have like 150,000. I've had that before, but it just didn't always it wasn't always worth it to hold that many people that weren't acting right. So I oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought again. What was your main question?
It's that squeaking, I'm sure. It's so cute.
How did you train them? How did you train them?
How did I train them? Thank you. So because of that email list, I originally met these people through these Facebook ads where all they knew was my website, right? So that was helpful because from the beginning, I was like, you buy my books from here. And I don't even mention Amazon. I don't mention any others because it's like, well, I want you to buy from there. I want you to buy from me. So they're trained that way. But then a lot of it is just nurturing and being present with them, right? So I do coffee with Katie calls every one per week. So one on Friday, it's like noon Mountain Time in the US. And then there's like one on Mondays at 7:00 in the evening Mountain Time because I have a lot of Australians that follow me. But then the people in the UK that follow me, just Zoom. I just send out a Zoom link. Yeah. Oh, okay. I just send out a Zoom link and they come in and we talk about their lives, and they've actually become this family. So they have they text message each other outside of our calls. They have a chat thread on Facebook. They're like this family. Like one of our Alcarans, we call each other Alcarans because my fantasy world is Alcara. One of our Alcarans was diagnosed with brain tumors, and she had needed a motor cart to drive around in, and we did a GoFundMe and raised the money for her to buy them, and so we sent it to her house. And then she was diagnosed with a brain tumor, so we actually ended up pulling in $1,000 to buy her flowers. I was just like, hey, let's buy Debbie flowers. And then her house actually burned down. And so all of these, I know it was this train wreck. And so all of these people were donating to help pay for her. And then she ended up passing away, which all of us were just so sad about. So we had a call to talk about, so we're trying everything we could to support each other because they've become a family. So when new people come onto these calls, I just give them the update, say, you can buy from Katie Cross Books right now. This is what we're doing for Black Friday. This is where you do it. And I give them the reasons. If you buy from me, I get 90% plus of the royalties, and then I get to write more books for you. And then, it's like buying independent small. I'm a working mom, and people love getting behind that, right? So the training is just a lot of showing up. But I think the most important thing that I do to get these people to buy from me is I write the books they want, right? They want more books, and they know when they're going to get it. It's predictable. They trust me to write the books that I want and to be really, I don't want to say talented. I feel like that's not the right word, but I tell a good story. They're good. They know they're going to get a good story when they get it. And I publish in all formats. So I narrate my own audiobooks too. So every single time I launch an ebook, audiobook, and paperback, because I had audiobook people reaching out, be like, well, we never know if we're going to get your books. And it's that's fair. Audio is harder to control the pipeline for. And I had a lot of readers asking me if I would ever record my own audio. And I was always like, no. And I was like, oh, you really want it that bad? And I realized if I had 30 plus titles that weren't in audio, and I was like, if I did it myself, that's a cash cow, so to speak. There's some big cash injections that could come from that. So I ended up narrating my own audiobooks to create that trust and drive people to buy from my website. And it works. Like that training over time really kind of pays out and works for it.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
I have
I'm
questions.
just like sitting here going, wow.
So I want to talk about the audiobooks because I want to know how long and things like that. But now I've lost the other question I had. Okay, let's just talk about
it's my
audiobooks.
curse. It's my curse. I'm
Yeah,
cursing
you're
you.
spreading that curse around.
Yeah.
It's all the
Spreading that.
things.
All the things
many
I'm like
things.
caught by
So
about
much to
10. Oh,
say.
I wanted to know how many people turn up to the Zoom calls. I'm just fascinated by that. I've not
Yeah.
come across it. Yeah, is it a lot or is it a cool
So,
group?
well, so I think on like a really big day we'd have like 30. Like
Okay.
I've had that many before on some of the book clubs, but for the most part it's anywhere from like 10 to 20.
Okay.
Sometimes it's more because people pop in and out just to say hi, but
Yeah.
there is like a core group of people that like
Yeah.
show up every time because they
What
want to
sort
see
of
each other.
age group demographic would you say your fans are?
Mostly I have men and women of all ages, but mostly the people that are showing up are men and women 40 and older. So I write young adult, but I market to grandmas is what I say. Basically, I market to midlife people. I think there's some like time and income freedom. I do have like moms that are my age that follow me. Some of my rock stars are parents with young kids just like me, but the majority of people are probably like 40 to 80 when they
Wow.
come.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So let's just quickly talk about those audiobooks because so how long does it take you to narrate an audiobook and do you get it edited by, like I know that you send
Yeah.
them away usually and get them.
Yeah, totally. So it's all about systems, right? Like every entrepreneur, if you're talking to an entrepreneur, they're going to talk about systems in their company. And that's really my secret sauce is I've just created systems to support the production of my product, right? So I want to write books. I have a system for it. Like I upload the manuscript to Vellum, I kick out the ebook and print, and that's a pretty easy system. So when I went into this audiobook idea, I said to myself, I've got to be able to make a system out of audiobooks that's predictable and easy. So I reached out to some people and I said, I need a professional to kind of help me like get into this, figure it out, teach me this. I have a setup, I took a course. And then this is exactly what I want. What I want is I will send you files on Google Drive in a folder. I want you to be my hairstylist. I call it the salon. Like I say my audiobooks are at the salon, just make it pretty, fix what you can. I want to just take the file and upload it to ACX. No problems. Like that's all I want. And then you send me an invoice and that's all we have to do every month. So it's super easy and predictable for both of us.
Yeah.
And it's just a system that we have. And I found this amazing guy named Arthur and he's like, this sounds amazing. Like, of course he did. That's like the perfect client. Like, you know exactly what he wants, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we did. Arthur and I met a bunch of times. He coached me through it. I was walking around my house, reading my books out loud, practicing accents. And because I wanted to like act it out, I didn't want to just read it. I wanted voices because that's what my readers were asking for.
Yeah.
But like, we want emotion. We want to feel the story. We want the accents. I'm so not that great at accents, but I'm getting better. So that's what I did. And then that's exactly what ended up happening is I finally was just like, it's just time. And Arthur's like, it's time. Just do your first book. So I did one of my novellas. It was like an hour long. It took me forever. I was like awkward with editing and we made it so it was fine, right? It was like a B+. And then I just kept doing it. I had so much imposter syndrome. I was so scared it was going to flop. I thought I was totally crazy because it was going to take too long. My business advisor's like, ignore the audiobooks, pump the books out. And I was like, no. And so I just did it anyway. So we just started talking about it. Like, I was like,
Business
I'm just going to do this.
What do they know?
Yeah, I was like,
Business
I'm just going to do
advice,
this. Like, I disagree with you fundamentally. I think there's a big audience out there. But more than that, I think I can create trust with my reader if I'm showing up the way they're asking. And I think I can drive greater sales from existing customers. So I'm like, if I can get ebook buyers to become audiobook listeners, and all of a sudden the average order value for half of my readers has increased by $10 per book, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, we're just not gonna talk about it. So we just didn't talk about it. He knew what I was doing, but just didn't talk about it. So what I do is, as part of my process, once I finish a book, my editing team has gone through it. I've gotten the manuscript back. I go all the way through for a fourth draft. And then it's audiobook time. So I just know that it's just, I'm here in my closet with my mic and I just record my audiobook. And it takes me about 4 to 5 days, depending on how long the book is. And if there's a lot of new accents. Last year was kind of great. I was spoiled because I had a 10-book series with mostly the same recurring characters. I would have new accents and stuff I'd have to figure out. that took a little while for development and like mastery of the accent, so it sounds fluid and natural. But for the most part, I just could walk into here and start recording and feel really confident with it. So, and then I upload them to BookFunnel, and I send the audiobook and the ebook to this proofing team that I have, and they like to read the ebook and listen to the audiobook, and so they'll send me pickups, they'll send me any mistakes. It's this wonderful proofreading because I'm reading through it and saying everything out loud, so I can just fix whatever I want, and then they're going through it word by word, so my books come out squeaky clean, and not perfect, but squeaky clean. And then once I have all the pickups done, I just repopulate the files, send them to Arthur, he beautifies them, and I upload them, and we're done.
So you sell them direct off your website?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all of my titles are available in audio. So it took me about 1.5 years, but I just recorded all of the books that had not yet been recorded. So I have everything available in paperback, ebook, and audio, which was a big production task that took a while, but my readers love. And I sell them through my website. I sell them through Findaway, through ACX, all that kind of stuff. I just don't share the links for those. And then right now I'm actually, by reader request, I had 9 novels that were narrated by other artists, and I'm going through and I'm re-recording all of those in my own voice. So by the end of Q2, the goal is to have all of my books in my voice in audio, so that
That's
just
so cool.
Alcara is mine.
Do they love
the
them? I bet they love them,
same.
don't they?
So much. Like,
Yeah,
they
would.
just, it changed everything for their
Yeah.
experience, because I honestly, like, at first I hated the process because I just felt so bad at it, right? I had imposter syndrome. I felt insecure about my performance, like, but I was just like, I'm committed to the end state and the trust that I can build. And so once I really like loosened up and I understood that they want an experience, they don't like care, like, of course it's going to be imperfect, but most people aren't going to hear the imperfections. I do. And I loosened up and I just let myself get into the book. I look forward to it every day. At the end of the day, I record for an hour to kind of wind down, and I call it my Alcara hour. I just get to sink into my characters and like narrate them and bring to life the emotions in the way that I want. And it's changed the way my readers have experienced my books, which is what I wanted. They hear my voice. They feel like we're best friends. They feel tied to me. They feel like an Alcaran. I get people coming on that are like, I'm just so excited to meet you. I feel like we're friends. Like, I've heard all your books, and I'm like, we are friends. It's so great,
You're totally invested because it's your book.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
Getting that connection to you, that's awesome. I love that. And
That's
you
so
also
cool.
you've talked a couple of times about writing the books that your readers want, and I'm getting a sense that you're really connected, especially to your super fans. And you talked earlier about they get to vote, or they get to choose what short stories.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Widen out on that?
So as I was looking at publishing trends that worked for me, right? Like, I would compare the data from like, this book launch did really well. Like, what was the reception? Why? And like, how was this book idea born? And the book idea is born from my readers, or the ones that involved at least some like element of romance in it and heavy magic. Those were the ones that always sold the best. And so I was like, if I'm going to be smart about this, then I'm going to provide the products that my readers want. I actually learned this by watching other companies, right? So I'm always looking outside publishing to figure out, how are you pulling me in? So there's this company called Byte. I'm like a mountain lover, tree hugger, and so I'm always like, how can I reduce my blueprint? Like, how can we like make this world like safer and cleaner? And in Byte, they like, their single mission is to get toothpaste tubes out of landfills because they just don't break down all stuff. So they sell toothpaste that's in these little chalk bites, and you bite them, and it's like, anyway, it's this huge company. And I'm like, they had me from that moment, right? Because I wanted that product. And then I found a company that, like, instead of plastic jugs with detergent, you can just have it throw the sheet in the washer, right? And so it's like no blueprint. And so I was like, oh my gosh, there's more. Like, and they just kept coming out these products that met the goal that I wanted. And so I kept buying them. So I asked myself, how can I be Byte, but in Alcara? Like, how can I do this? So what I did is I created a Google form. This is not sexy, right? I just created a Google form, and I said, here's a list of story ideas that I love. Which one do you want next? And I just sent it out, and people voted, and I got hundreds of replies, and I was shocked because the book, I was certain I would have gone to my grave fighting for this book. It was the last one.
No.
I was like, I would have published. The book, well, I was excited about the other titles, but my ego was totally wiped out, right, from the knees. I was like, prided myself
what do
on
I
like,
know?
oh yeah,
That's
I like totally prided
hilarious.
myself on knowing what my readers wanted, and it's bull crap. Like I never know what my readers want. So I was like, really? That's what you guys want? And all of them were like, yeah, why wouldn't we? And I was like, that is not what I expected you to say. So I started publishing those books and my sales were going up. So what I came up with was this reader request series where every like quarter or so I send out an email and I say, hey, here's the request form. If there's any short stories that you're wanting insight into or characters that you want more of, just put the idea here and your name. So in the reader request series, we currently have 10 books. Well, they're short stories. They're 10,000 words or less. I have like a limit on it, right? And the readers are just like, I want to see this scene from this person's point of view. So I'll like rewrite a scene. And what I did was I was doing live writing with Katie. So every Monday night at 7 Mountain Time, I would hop on Zoom and I would not connect to the sound. And then I would just share my screen and they would just watch me write these reader request stories so they could see it come together. We don't do that anymore, but like the actual live writing part. But
That would
they
absolutely
had like,
dry my imagination well up completely, knowing they were all watching me.
oh, I thought so too. I was like, I'm going to be so insecure, but I was committed because they were so excited.
Yeah.
They wanted to see the behind the scenes. It made them feel special. And after a while, I just realized it doesn't matter. Like, I'm just going to do it. And it was slower, certainly. My productivity was not as high, but that wasn't the point. Like, it was them being able to watch it. So I would write for 45 minutes and then I would like stop sharing my screen, enter the sound, and I would talk to them and answer their questions. And we would just have like a gossip session about all Karin books and stuff. So that gave me a better idea, like, what do you guys actually want? And I can't tell you how often I fail at this, right? So last night I'm working with my illustrator, and she's actually in Australia too. And she and I were going back and forth. I was like, we're putting together a special edition hardcover that we're launching on Kickstarter in March. And I was like, what about this font for the chapter? And she's like, I hate that font. And I was like, that's my favorite font. Like, I was like, for sure, this is going to be the font. She goes, I hate that font. And I was like, oh. So I like picked a bunch of others and I was like, she's going to like this other font. And she didn't like that font. So I was like, whatever, we're putting this to the team. So the team hated the font I loved.
No way.
And they loved the ones that I was like, really? That one? Like,
I
mutually, they all loved the one that I did not like at all. So I've not yet gotten good at predicting what people want.
I know, so I'm the same. It's awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you think you're onto it, and you're really not. Like, I'll say something, and my assistant, I'll go, "This is perfect," and she goes, "No one's going to like that."
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yep. So I just started asking my readers. So I'll even ask them like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Like, what do you guys think? Do you want to do this? So I'll just kind of feel them out on these calls, or I'll send out surveys. And when I send out a survey, I say 1 reader gets 5 signed books of their choosing. And so people are excited to like respond to the surveys. And so I just offer like a high ticket item. To me, I was like, they probably just want cash, but they're like, no, we want signed books. And I was like, really? You don't want cash or like signed books? I'm like, really? I would not pick that. And then I'm like, of course, if I wouldn't pick it, they probably would.
That's funny. So what else do you put in your newsletter? So far we've got asking them what they want and
short stories,
and sending. And do you put short stories in there? Do you put the actual in your?
Very rarely do I give anything away for free unless it's part of a marketing funnel. So I give away my first Dragon Master Trilogy book for free from a Facebook ad, and then they get a free short story as like one of the later emails in that funnel and sequence, just because that kind of keeps that engagement and excitement high. My newsletters are pretty not necessarily exciting to us, but to my readers they are, in terms of I've sort of organized those as well. I've made like a system out of those. So every final Friday of the month, I share other authors. The third Friday, I do what I call a connect email, where I'm just like answering questions or trying to connect with them. Last month, I think it was, I sent out an email and it's like, I'm pretty imperfect, or like I messed up or something. And I just talk about how I don't expect to ever be perfect, and I hope they don't expect me to be perfect, and there's imperfections, but that's kind of what's beautiful about it, right? And just how there's a lot of pressure on figures that are in the public eye that are producing art to like have a perfect book or perfect manuscript, and that's just not, it's not perfect. Like, it's like we do everything we can, but we don't. And I had such a beautiful response to people like saying that. I was like, there are emails in my, or there are errors in my emails. I get people responding, like editing my emails, like, you made this mistake, this, like that kind of stuff. I'm like, yep, Yeah, you know, so I'll kind of
It's
do
done
stuff
now,
like
though.
that. I
I'm
like,
just
what do you
like,
want me to do about
wow.
it? Like,
Yeah, like, I mean, have you not got anything better to do though, really? You know?
for some people, no. And then,
And you know how great that they're that invested though, right?
right, I appreciate the energy they put into that for sure.
Mm.
And part of me is like, I'm going to keep your name if I need a proofreader. Like,
Yeah,
if you're willing
exactly.
to correct my emails, you should do the copy edits. And then every first Friday, I'm launching a new book. And then the Sunday that follows, I'm just doing a reminder email because I'll launch on a Friday. I'll sometimes sell more that Sunday than I will on launch day because people are
Right.
like on holiday or something, right? And a lot of it is just kind of the needs of the readers. Sometimes I'll send out like once a quarter, once or twice a year. I'm like, hey, this is our launch schedule, subject to change as soon as I send this out, you know, like things always change. So I just try to keep it really Alcara focused. And my goal with my email newsletters is to remind them that Alcara exists and they're part of it. So has very little to do with me, but I'm the one that brings Alcara to them and I take that very seriously. And so however I can, I try to bring that sense of belonging and fantasy and magic even in the emails.
That's
So
awesome.
with regards to your release, because you're releasing one a month, is it a big build up or is it just like people know, or does it happen that week? Or what do you do with cover reveals, or what
I don't
happens
do
there?
cover reveals. Yeah, again, we've systematized it and I did that on purpose. I wanted people to know when to expect my book, right? Like they just know the first Friday, it's new book day. So it's pretty systematized, like nothing too exciting. I don't take a lot of time to do like a big marketing push unless it's a first book in a new series. And then if I'm trying to like draw people in or re-engage or something like that, I might push a little bit more just in terms of maybe extra calls with people, an extra book club, anything that the readers want to get around more. But really, we've systematized this because we're launching every month. It's pretty much the same thing because I want it to be the same thing. I even use the same subjects on my newsletters when I launch a book, and I just say new book available today. And I just do it over and over again because they know the language I speak, they know what to expect, I deliver, and trust is built over and over. It's over again. It's very mundane, right? There's like
Do you
nothing
pre-order?
sexy about this. I do pre-order. I pre-order a couple months out so that I capture interest at the end of the book, right? So whatever book they finish, the next book is always available for pre-order on my website. A lot of the time I don't really get around to putting it on Draft to Digital or Amazon until like the week before, but I don't really pre-order. I mean, you guys would probably be appalled at my numbers on Amazon and Draft to Digital, which is
Not at
fine
all.
because like I'm like I don't need people to love me there. But that does create problems too, right? So like I don't have the social proof of ranking that some people do. Like I'm sort of like off here by myself and you know people talk about rank or people talk about sales and it's like if I don't even know what my rank is. It probably looks appalling. And so anyone from the outside looking in be like, she doesn't sell anything, which is a total lie. I'm just not selling it through traditional means. So there's like downsides to that.
Direct sales are taking off though, aren't they? A lot of people are getting into them.
Yeah, certainly. The interest is certainly high, which is really cool. I mean, the more of us out there doing that, then the more normal it becomes. I'm so excited with every new reader that hits BookFunnel because then that reader will know BookFunnel for when my books are like when they can find my books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can I just ask? Oh, sorry, you go, share.
Go share.
It was just a price thing. Do you sell your books slightly lower on your website, or is it cool?
Yep. So they're $9.99 US on Amazon across the board. I think some of the first books are maybe $7.99, and then I charge $7.99 US dollars for my books on my website.
That's an ebook, right?
Right, an ebook. Yeah, paperback on Amazon is anywhere from like 24.99 US to 29.99 Australian, but I only charge 19.99 US, and then I think that converts up to like 23 Australian or 24 Australian. And then my audiobooks are just $10 across the board. Like come to me for $10 audiobooks because who knows what Audible is putting them at, you know. And then I put it at $14.99 US dollars on like Findaway for all those other retailers are at least $5 higher.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Cool.
That's
Can
cool.
you can you just run through really quickly like your system in terms of direct sales? So you've got them on your website. What's the back end that you're using in terms of the sales, and how does the process go from your end?
Yeah. So I use Shopify. I'm on their cheapest plan. It's like $30 a month or something. And then I have some other apps that I pay monthly for. So I pay $100 to Shopify every month. There's 30 of that is Shopify itself. And then the other apps that I use for like upsells equate to about $100 a month. And then, so anytime someone buys an ebook or audio, I have a direct integration with BookFunnel. So someone buys it, it pings BookFunnel, they shoot the email. I'm also integrated with ActiveCampaign. That's my email service provider. I've been with them for years. I absolutely love them. So whenever someone purchases like an ebook or audiobook from me, BookFunnel delivers it. ActiveCampaign also gets a notification and will deliver it that way too. So those kind of run in the background. I have some upsell apps that your listeners might be interested in. One of them is called, it's like a bear or something for like cross-selling. It's like a cross-sell app where like they put a certain app into their cart and it triggers a specific like pop-up that says, do you want this second book for $1 off? Like, do you want to complete the series for this? I have those kind of upsell apps or post-purchase display apps, that kind of thing. Lulu does my paperbacks and they have a direct integration too. So someone orders a paperback and then it just goes right to Lulu. It's really nice because they just charge my credit card, the cost of printing and then shipping. So I don't have to do anything. It's all just uploaded. And I've been really, really happy with Lulu. I'm trying to think if there's any others. The email provider, ActiveCampaign and BookFunnel are really the ones I can't function without for sure. And then, there's like Facebook ads for advertising and stuff, but those are sort of the skinny basics.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
And so a lot of that seems to be just stuff that kind of works in the background, is not like something you're having to do on a regular basis. That's kind of the...
So there's another one, I just looked it up. Frequently Bought Together shows like if you look at Flame, then it'll show the next 2 books in the trilogy. So like when someone bought this, they also bought this kind of thing. The Frequently Bought Together is great. Printify is a print on demand app that I use. So it's like you could make merchandise if you wanted. You could just put a picture up and they put it on a shirt and then they drop ship. So it's like print on demand. Like someone orders the shirt, they just charge your credit card the cost and the shipping and you kind of go off that way. And then I have a review app. It's called judge.me. It's Judge Me. So people can put reviews on my website. So I will try to like incentivize that sometimes. So I'll say, if you review my books on my website and just send me like a screenshot, we'll like put you in a drawing or, whatever. Like we find ways to kind of incentivize that, but we don't do it all that much. We don't do that all that much.
Okay.
Wow.
And so
I don't know, do you sleep at all? Or?
I actually sleep like 8 hours a night. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
People are always surprised by that, but I do. It's like when you create systems and you do those systems over and over and over again, it actually just runs itself because it's predictable, right? Like you know what needs to happen.
That's awesome. Do you have are you sort of Monday to Friday, or are you working every day? Like, how do you?
Yeah, so I try to keep it Monday to Friday. Just to model that for my kids. Like, I don't want them to think I work all the time, but that's not super realistic. There's like a level of chaos in my life because I have young kids and we live in the mountains. So I try really hard to work when they're at school and then shut the computer when they come home. But like life happens. Like we live up in Montana and it was negative 27 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like negative 32 Celsius the other day. Wow. And all of my pipes were freezing. And so I was like digging into my drywall and busting up like all stuff. Anyway, so I couldn't work during the day because I was just trying to keep our water on. And so then I was like staying up late to work at night to kind of catch up on make sure my word count was hit and that kind of thing. So it's very like, I just have expectations for that day. Like today I'll probably work these hours and then I just try to make that happen. And then I do writing first and emails last. So I haven't even looked at my emails today except to pull out the Zoom link. So I have all these people that are like emailing me. I'm like, sorry, I haven't finished my writing.
Yeah, that's
you got to prioritize, don't you?
How many words do you write a day? Like, what's your aim?
I aim for 10,000 when I'm first drafting. When I'm editing, I'm trying to edit anywhere from 15 to 20,000 words. It takes I can write 10,000 words in 4-ish hours if it's not like I'm not having to develop a lot of new stuff or characters. Then I can, like in the Sister Witches series, because it was a 10-book series, I could clip through those pretty quick because it was the same series. I'm working on a standalone book right now that will probably be like 120,000 words. And that's just requiring a little more time to first draft because there's a lot more magical development in it. But I aim to write sometimes up to 6 hours a day, just in writing, and then I try to keep my business stuff to an hour to an hour and a half. So email, Facebook ad comments, Facebook comments, Telegram, which is what I run my company on. I try to chuck all of that into an hour to an hour and a half if I can.
Okay, well, that's cool.
You're very
Awesome.
focused. It's
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. It's that like laser precision, like this hour I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think you might have to train us. Okay. We're going to have our own Zoom set up, all right?
Inspiration is a great mistress. Like as a mom, it's like you have only so much time and I have to get this done. Yeah. So
really
like today I was writing and then I had to run into town to go buy some more home renovation stuff, and then I had to go to my dog's vet appointment and I still had to go buy some more stuff, so I ran back to the store and I was just eating Chipotle while I was waiting for my dog's vet appointment, and then they called me back and they forgot one of his things, and I was like, I have an appointment, you've got to do this fast. So I went back there, came back home, I let my dogs out, and I came here to record. So there's like some days it's just like you have
that's
life,
the way, life.
Yes, it is, and it's beautiful. Like it's a beautiful life.
Do you give yourself time off? Just like, do you have holiday time where you kind of plan
I
that
do. So we just took our kids to Disneyland. My mom, for our Christmas present, bought a trip for my kids and my niece and my brother and his wife to go to Disneyland together with her. And so I didn't take my computer. It was so fun. It was really hard. I was like, I'm not even taking my computer. So I had to like set my assistant up to watch the emails, like just answer like reader emails, and then like Facebook, like monitor the ad comments on Facebook. So she was like doing some data stuff, analysis and stuff for me. But I didn't, and it was wonderful. Like I just totally disengaged for like a week and just played with my kids and didn't even, my computer stayed home. And then in the summer, I try to do that as much as I can too. Or I just like work for like 2 hours in the morning before my kids wake up, and then they have all day with me. So it's very imperfect, right? And messy, but I do try to take that time off.
That's awesome.
And I think as long as most of the time you're consistent, you can get away with it, can't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Cool. So can
very impressive.
Very impressive. We're all impressed. I just want to go back because I know Wendy wanted me to talk to you about this. You mentioned quickly your merchandising. I just wondered how much is it literally what you're talking about with the Printify app that sort of handles itself, isn't that you've gone out and organized merchandising? And is that something?
Oh, it's just who has time for that? Like, no, I've got enough products. So what I do is I actually create the merchandise my readers are asking for. So for example, I had this dragon named Elis that clearly died, or I thought clearly died in a book. And we were on book club and my readers were like, Elis isn't dead. And I was like, guys, Elis is dead. Like he was spiraling from the sky, shooting fire. Like he's gone, man. And they were like, no, he's not dead. And you don't even know. Cause I always say Alcara talks to me. I just say, Alcara isn't mine. Alcara belongs to everyone. I'm just the person that gets out of the way. Right. So like Alcara can come to be. So other people create art in Alcara, right? Like I have illustrators, I have other stuff. So they're like, you're not in charge. Alcara's in charge, and you're going to be writing a book, and Elis is going to come back. And I was like, you guys, Elis is dead. So then these factions formed where people were like, no, Elis lives. So people would like come on the call and say Elis lives, right? So one of my readers like made a sign and like put on his hat. And so one of the merchandise I made, I just made Elis dies and then Elis lives, or Elis died and Elis lives, or something like that. And then I put them up for sale. And so people were buying these shirts that said like whatever side they were on, right? Like, so I just went to Canva, made the picture, uploaded it to Printify, picked the shirt colors that I wanted, and then I just put it imports it to Shopify on its own. And then I just like put it for sale, and I didn't ever have
Way you go.
Yeah, there's like mugs, there's t-shirts, there's like tank tops, there's sweatshirts, there's hoodies. I mean, there's anything, like you can source anything and it'll all make it with that design. So that's what I do for merchandise. There's not a lot of money in merchandise that I found. Like not a lot of people are going to buy it. And I've tried different things. Like my mom has this like super NASA size like embroidery machine that she can upload anything and like do embroidery pictures. So she found this like dragon font where every letter was a dragon. And so we did embroidered t-shirts in that font that said like Flame or Bianca. Those just took forever to sell. And I still have some and I have to fulfill it. So I'm like, it's just not worth it, right? To like do your own merchandise. That's why I just do Printify when it comes up for something that my readers would like.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Has anyone got any more questions? I feel like I'm just
No,
in
I think my
awe.
mind is going to explode.
Yeah. Just when I
The
think I
final thing.
can't.
Be even
Oh, go
more
ahead.
impressed I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I just say, I think what I just like to round out with direct sales is just this idea that the company should be serving you and not you serving your company, right? And so what I love about direct sales is on a yearly basis, I get to say, what does it look like this year in my family and how can my company support that? So for example, this year I'm doing a slightly different model than I did last year. Like I'm just changing up the way we do things to create cash flow in the areas I want, because all of this renovation that we have to do in our house is going to require a lot of my time and some more dollars, right? So it's like, so my advisor, it's like, how do we focus the cash flow to me getting it at home and also hours? I need more time at home. So how do we create this? How do we tweak my business model to serve it so that I have more to give at home? Because I need more time and I need more dollars at home. So how do we hone this? Where do we have holes that we can plug? What can I say no to this year that I say yes to another year when the situation is different, right?
Yeah.
So I think this idea that I think so many of us have felt like slaves to our company when actually the company should be serving us. And that's what I would want to leave for people.
Nice.
And would you explain that to your readers going forward? That, perhaps you
Oh,
have less
absolutely.
product?
Yeah, I like to involve my readers in all of it because I just like to be really real, right? So, for example, my best friend lost her child at the same time, like 2 days before I lost my dog, and I just was really honest with them. I said, I don't have. There's some things I just can't do right now, because I just need to be supporting my family and my friend, and this is what's going on and this is what we're going to do, and they're all invested in it, right? So this year I'm going to say, hey, we're tweaking it, we're not doing it this way because I can better get you books if I do XYZ thing over here, right? Like we can totally be honest and forthcoming with them, and they love that. And what the feedback that I hear is, you're just so real, like you're so much more real. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty messy over here.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. You're really open with them, and that you let
we're all
them see
messy.
everything about you.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
aren't we all messy? And aren't we all...
There's no one perfect, really.
Yeah.
Eh?
And I think the trouble comes when you try and pretend to be perfect, and then that's when people start trying to poke holes in you because no one's perfect. And
Absolutely.
So, that's awesome. So
Amazing.
wow. Yeah, just wow. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
I
you
love
so much for your time.
Yes. Thank you. It's
We
so
love
fun
you.
to hang
That's
out
so
with you again.
inspirational.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Well, anytime we can do a Zoom call together. That'll be fun.
Okay.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
Writing sprints with Katie Cross.
Yeah. So Katie, if someone wants to find out more about you or your books, where's the best place for them to go?
Yeah, katiecrossbooks.com will take you right to my website. You can kind of see how it's set up, see what you like about it there. There's a link if you want to get the free book, or you can email me. It's katie@kcrosswriting.com. I'm the only one in my inbox. My assistant will sometimes help out if I'm out of town, but I will respond directly, or you can follow me on Facebook or Instagram.
Okay, awesome. Nice. Thank you. And where can we be found, Cheryl?
We can be found at spargirlspodcast.com on all the things. We're also on Patreon if you'd like to help sponsor us with a coffee or something more. And we do have a separate page for those that sponsor us for $10 or more, where we will help you with all the things.
Facebook
because
page,
we love you.
Yeah, awesome.
Facebook,
Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you, Katie, for joining us again for the second time. I recommend anyone who wants to should go back and listen to episode 101 and then come and listen to this one, obviously. Just listen to it clearly, so maybe not again. Well, maybe you do want to listen to it again. I don't know. There's a lot of gold.
Or come and watch us on YouTube.
Come and watch it on YouTube.
There you go.
Yeah. So thanks, Katie. Thanks to all of our listeners. We really appreciate every single one of you. We're glad that you're here with us, and we'll be back again next week for another episode. But for now, farewell. Bye.
Farewell.
Thank you so much. Bye.